All right, we are live. Welcome, Sehaj. Thanks for coming.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. And thanks for having me here, Mackenzie.
Absolutely. No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So let's just get into it. Let's get started. Where are you working now?
So presently I'm working as a consultant at Deloitte and I work in the financial technology team and I'm in the adaptive practice at the moment.
Wow, that sounds fun. What exactly do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed, it is great fun working at Deloitte, and I at Deloitte work as a finance consultant. So it's mainly ERP implementation, and I do the adaptive bit. So adaptive is a technology which handles the reporting part of the big organizations, and we consult different clients from different industries and implement our technology in their systems. And it's great fun, yeah.
Awesome, that sounds great. How do the projects look there? Do you have lots of little projects or are you kind of on one massive one?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So it can vary. So initially, when I joined, I was actually struggling to get a project because I think it's not that you when you join there is a project ready for you. It's like you have to meet different people, just talk to a few people, and then they will or they might just assign you a project. And my first project was in fact like 4 weeks. It was pretty small. It was just scoping the requirements for a company and just designing the architecture in terms of how they are going to implement the ERP system in their technology in their systems in a span of like probably 4 years. And my second project, in fact, was like a big one. So that's the one which I am currently working on, and it's been like 6 months since I've been working on that project. And it was actually it started like a year back now, and I joined the project mid year. So essentially, it's like it can actually vary. Like the duration of your project can vary a lot.
Awesome. And what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say that it's pretty 9 to 5. It's sometimes it can be long working hours. And like the current project is it's a pretty difficult one, and I spend like quite a lot of time after hours as well. Like sometimes it can go till 8 or 9, and if it's really busy, it can go even late. But then I think there's a sense of recognition in terms of the effort which you've put in, because everyone at Deloitte knows, and my team also knows that this is a difficult project, and we've put in a lot of hours. So they actually go the distance to recognize that you've worked this much. And we, in fact, all of us got 1 week of break because we had put in these hours. So it's like, it's not that your effort goes unnoticed. And a lot of people really actually, I mean, there's a system in Deloitte called shout outs. So they actually, that's a system of appreciating your employees. And I've got like a lot of shout outs for the project which I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. You've
Yeah.
been there, what, 6, 7 months?
Yeah, actually, it's been 7 months now, and it's been a journey. Yeah.
Fantastic. Are you happy you joined?
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that I was really elated when I joined Deloitte. I mean, I informed about this to my parents back at home, and more than me, it was them who got really happy. And it's like, getting to learn so much at this age is like, I think, great step, not just for my career. Even if someone wants to do their own thing and start anything in life, I think it's a great step ahead. And I mean, there's so much to learn because I feel, joining a company like Deloitte is like getting paid for your uni. Like when you go to your uni, it's like you pay for the fee, but now it's the other way around. I get to work and learn, and it's like I'm getting paid. But yeah, it's obviously more intense than doing just a degree.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. That's fantastic. What do you think are the main skills that are required to be good at your job?
I think there are a few skills which are very essential. For instance, it can actually vary from practice to practice. And I'm in the consulting team, so I think Excel skills and general Microsoft Office skills are really essential. Apart from that, I think I think in audit, let's say it's more of working. It's also client-based role, but it's more like I think working on your spreadsheets and updating them. But then consulting is all day, just meeting with your clients and talking to them. So good communication skills is also really important. And I would say being good at presentations, because presentations are something which are a very crucial part of your day-to-day job. So being a bit artistic and having some PowerPoint skills is also a good plus point.
Awesome. Alrighty. Let's jump into the job search.
Yeah, I just don't want to talk about that, but then I think it's very essential that I help my fellow viewers who are watching this, and anyone who's looking to get into a Big Four. I think it's really important to know a few things which I've gone through, and yeah, we can discuss that.
Absolutely, I think so, because that's kind of how we met, right?
Yeah.
As well. So that was in. So you completed your masters in 2020?
Yes, I completed that's right. It was 2020 December. And then after that, I think I got a job at a startup, which is a very small role. And I had a few things to learn, but then I think the startup wasn't looking very, my career wasn't looking very bright at that place. And I had to make a switch. And that's when, I had this long job hunt, which wasn't going in any great direction, I would say. And that's where you came in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very common story, I think, for a lot of grads.
Yeah, indeed.
The long job hunt. All right, well, let's dig into that, because I think that's probably why people are watching. They want to know, how did you go from master's graduate at UNSW to Deloitte consulting?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, so essentially I would say Deloitte, I tried applying for this company since the time, I graduated. It was not that I've applied just once. I like my flatmate, he worked at Deloitte and he got a job after working for 6 months at another company, and he knew someone at the company, like he networked with someone and he was able to get a job in the DFT team, which is the team where I'm working right now. And then I tried to network with him, the same guy, but it wasn't really, my skill set wasn't up to the mark, and I got a role midway as a commercial analyst at a big company. It was it's called Probe CX, and it's a quite massive company. Over there, I learned the role of basically it's an FP&A role, and that's something which aligns to the current job that I do. So I learned the technology called Adaptive there, which is a reporting tool. And since I had that skill set, like because the FP&A role requires Excel modeling skills and presentation skills, it's also essentially a role which, helps you learn things for the role which I am currently doing. So which is why I had the right skill set, and based on your strategies, I tailored my CV and did all the things that you mentioned, and that those things really helped. And then I applied for a job at Deloitte with a referral link from my friend, and this time I got a call and I had 3 rounds of interview, and then I got a job. I can elaborate more on the different parts of the journey, but if that's all right, just let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Let's dig into it. I think people will want that. So I've got your LinkedIn open now.
Yeah.
You finished your degree, so you actually had a bit of experience in finance from India, right? Originally.
Yes, that's right. So I worked in India in a company where it was my dad's friend's company, and there I learned just basic skills in terms of it wasn't a very big company, and it isn't recognized, I would say. And over there I just learned some basic skills in terms of Excel modeling and things which happen in broader accounting and finance purview. But then, the real stuff that I learned was back at a big company where, they have I would say, an established reporting infrastructure and a big company and a big setup. So that's where I learned my most part at Probe CX.
Yeah, got it. I'm just trying to kind of build that roadmap for people so they can see, how you got there. So it was a bit of experience back home, came to Australia for the masters, and then you also had a bit of part-time accounting experience as well, right?
Yes, indeed. So that was my first job when I arrived in Australia. I think right now in this current atmosphere, it is quite easy to get a part-time job. But back when I arrived in 2019, that wasn't the case. Like I got through a lot of the job hunt and it wasn't really great. It took me like 4 or 5 months to get my first job, and that was through a referral. So it was a college in Sydney, and it was an accounting role. And there I learned the technology called Xero, and it's an accounting based tool that helps small enterprise manage their accounts. That's the time I learned a few accounting skills and general work practice in Sydney, and it was purely out of me knowing someone, and that's how I got a job.
Awesome.
To elaborate more on that, initially it was just an invoicing role. I was just it was mainly data entry and just making few basic bills every day, but then it evolved to an accounting part-time accounting role, which was more focused towards accounting.
Got it. And at this point, or at what point did you decide you wanted to work in consulting at the Big Four? Because I think from memory that was a goal you had for a while. I'm just curious to know, when did that
that I think you have a great memory. So I had my initial thought was to always work in a big company and in a good role. To be honest, consulting was it was something which was in my mind. I didn't actually know what work is being done by a consultant, and especially how things work in the Big Four. And it was actually my friend who started working, and I got a great glimpse of how things work there, and that's how I applied. And initially, I always wanted to work in Big Four, but it was not very much pertaining to consulting. I was pretty much open to any opportunity in that space.
Got it. So it was more you saw your friend working in the Big Four and you thought that looks fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in consulting, I because the kind of offers he got, like people reach out to him on LinkedIn every day, and just a general sense of how my career would look like a few years down the line, and things that I would learn was like a big motivator for me to join a Big Four.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you're seeing this guy who's kind of a little bit ahead of you in life, and he's got his Big Four job. Everyone wants him, and he kind of becomes desirable with this Deloitte brand behind him.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, absolutely. That was the case.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how that happens? Especially working for those just firms that have a good brand. People just, you're a magnet for recruiters.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get some recruiters reach out to you here and there as well.
Oh yeah. Now since I've worked, it's every month I would say I get a offer for some good role, and that's like 50, 60K more than what I am currently paid. So it's like good money and good working environment and good career path as well. Yeah. So that's a great plus point.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because I think some people, the people who really research into the Big Four, they understand the initial salaries aren't necessarily the best.
Yeah.
So, but I think the people who really do their research, they realize that probably in the long term, you get your pay.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, I mean, working in consulting is, I mean, obviously that's a known fact that industry pays more than what you're paid at any of the big fours. But then your long-term career path, and even if we leave that aside, like your general sense of understanding and your holistic approach towards, growing as a person, that also changes. Like you get to learn so much, which you wouldn't have otherwise learned at any other place. Like some of the projects that I work at, like I get to meet the finance heads and CFOs and all those big people who would you even working for them would never be able to talk to them. So it's like you get to talk and meet the best of the people and learn from them.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think my experience at KPMG was invaluable for sure.
Yes. Like sometimes, I mean, you can't just put a monetary value on this experience and this learning. Yeah.
And I've kept in touch with a lot of clients as well who have worked in these positions for a little while, and I haven't had one person yet tell me it wasn't an amazing experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's not strange.
Yeah. It's funny though, because like sometimes these firms get a bit of bad rap in the media, but we won't go into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, out of all the firms that I've worked at, this is, I mean, even if sometimes you have to put in the extra hours, I think it's worth it because the people around you are, I mean, awesome. They're fantastic and they appreciate your time. So it's like you get recognized, which is what, keeps me working hard. And it's not always the case that, you have to put in the extra effort. It's sometimes that situation might arise that you have to work the extra time. So that's something which is not that bad.
Awesome. So you kind of realized, and when did you realize you wanted to get into consulting? Was that after you graduated or before you graduated?
Yeah, it was, working in a big four was obviously something which I had planned before I had graduated, but then specifically consulting, when I got a glimpse of, how my friend works and how the kind of career path looks like for him, I decided I just wanted to go into consulting.
Got it. Awesome. So you kind of, you got this awesome degree from one of the best universities in the world, really. You got some of this overseas experience in the finance area. Then you got some localist experience in a very junior kind of entry-level accounting, finance position. Then we're coming into the next stage where you got this post-graduation. Fairly quickly, I think, you got a job at that small startup.
Yes.
Is it worth talking about this one, do you think?
Yeah, we can talk. So it was, I still remember I was playing poker with my friend, and he was actually the owner of the startup, and I was just talking to him and I was telling him the kind of work that I do, and he actually invited me to work for his company, and that's how I got my job in his startup. And that was also a brief role. I mean, it was mainly a finance role. It helped me understand the NDIS industry, which is the someone who has a disability. So you just help them and help them in the sense that we had a platform for them wherein they could come and probably get the funds from the government. So it was managing the funds better for the client. And I again brought in my accounting experience, which I gained from my previous organization, and helped this company.
So are they called, what are they called? Fund managers?
No. I mean, it was my friend, who I can call him my friend now. He the owner of the startup. So I helped him with setting up the basic accounting practice. And I helped with the financial part of it, like raising funds for the company and just generally, getting onboarding the clients. And when you say fund management, it wasn't actually that. It was a platform. So let's say someone who suffers some sort of disability, they come to, they sign up on this platform and they receive funds from the government. So it's pretty much very hard for them to track their funds, how they have spent and how much is left in the bank for them. So we gave them the solution to, this is the way you can manage your funds better.
Got it. So was it like a software?
It wasn't a software. It was a web-based platform. It was essentially a website, and a user would sign up, and they would have their credentials, and they could sync their account statements, and it would just tell them how much what are the schemes they are eligible for probably, and how much they are supposed to get, and how much they've spent, and where all they can spend on.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And did you have experience doing this stuff before, or was your friend or the person who hired you, did they just think, this guy, he's got some training, he's got a bit of experience, I think he can just kind of help us with all of the things we need help with, and it was more you were learning on the fly?
Yeah, that's a great question. So where I brought in my expertise was setting up, so I'd worked on the software for like Zero, which I'd worked on for like a year and a half, and I helped him set that up for his company. And since it was a very small company, and it's not that you just handle the financial part of it, so it's the role diverged into a lot of other things which had to be done. So it was, let's say, a client had to call and convincing the client to join our platform, and a lot of other tasks. And obviously my friend also helped me learn different things, and I on the fly also learned a lot from him.
That's awesome. And so that was kind of your, again, another learning experience post-university. So you're kind of building up your capability through not just the degree, but the accounting, the bit of finance, and this stuff where you're taking real ownership. And then, and so far it seems all of these jobs are referral.
Yes,
people,
indeed.
Meeting people.
Indeed. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think just apart from my job at Deloitte, all the jobs that I've done are through referral. My next job at Probe also was through a referral, and I knew someone who I actually knew the CFO of the company, and he referred me to the position, and he in fact created a position for me, and that's how I got my next job as well.
So good. And do you think, for people watching this who are thinking that, there's definitely people watching this, they're thinking, this guy, he's so lucky. He, maybe he luckily got all these things. I don't believe it's luck. So what do you think, what's helped you to stand out? And like, how did you get to meet these people? What was it about you that kind of attracted these opportunities to you?
No, I think that's a great observation, and I wouldn't say, there's some sort of luck that plays. I wouldn't totally disregard that. Sometimes, the timings are also very crucial. In fact, that was really important in my case as well. And I had, someone who's struggling to get a job, it's just for their understanding that keep on trying, because if let's say they keep on trying, they actually factor out the luck factor from their job hunt. And for me, what worked was I had applied for a job at Deloitte, let's say, for consistently for a few months, and I had applied not just once, for quite a few times. And initially I didn't have the right skill set and the right things required to get a job. And not just that, my approach was also not the best approach, I would say. My resume was not on point, and the way I talked in the interviews and the way I answered the questions was also not up to the mark. And that's something, which I think I learned from your program. I understood, how to actually formulate a CV that's very relevant in big organizations. And I actually got a lot of compliments the way I edited my CV, and everyone would just say, your CV looks really nice. And that's the first part, because people first look at the CV and then CV and your resume, and then they decide if we are going to progress this candidate. and getting the first part right is also very crucial. So that's something which I learned over the course of time. And getting a job at Probe was also something which really, I think that was the job that helped me to get a job at Deloitte. So it was a step ahead in my job hunt, actually.
Yeah, that's what really, I think, your pathway into your job now, which is a really, I think, highly competitive, prestigious job. A lot of people would, grads, it's a dream job for any grad, really.
Yes.
Especially in your field. But it's definitely not like it just magically happened overnight. You can see the progression. I mean, I'm looking at your LinkedIn. You started off as an intern, you then got slightly more experience, and it's like you're just instead of jumping from grad to Deloitte, you've actually spent time just slowly kind of taking steps towards being a super valuable candidate. And then you got to the point where you were a commercial analyst at Pro CX, and your value was probably just so much higher than most of the other grads. They were coming out with just degrees, maybe an internship, and you're here as a commercial analyst for again a very well-known large firm.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, for someone who's straight out of a grad role, someone who's a graduate and wants to get a job in a good company, I think even applying for a grad program at, let's say, a company like Deloitte, it's not pretty straightforward. You just need to be, getting good internships and having some internship experience to get even a grad role at Deloitte. And I joined as a consultant, which is, a better pathway for someone who has some sort of experience. So if I had applied as a grad at Deloitte, that was even more difficult for me because firstly, they don't prefer international students. They usually, because the program spans for like 2 years. So it's not that, you can't just get a grad role, but it's infinitely difficult to get straight away into a big four. So getting some sort of experience came in really handy. And because I came as a lateral hire at Deloitte. So that played a big part for me to get a job at Deloitte.
And that's the other thing a lot of people don't seem to understand as well. There are lots of pathways to get into these firms, right? Like, obviously there's the one of the easiest ways to aim for at the beginning is the vacationer programs, because I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but probably they are, if you've really put in the effort, they might be some of the least competitive, still very competitive, but you're competing against usually students who often haven't thought as far ahead. Then you've got the grad program, which is, in my experience, the most competitive, because it's just everyone's going for that. And from what I understand, there's not a huge number of positions. But then you've got the lateral hire or the junior level roles, kind of just above a grad, but not by a huge margin. And people don't even really understand that's even a possibility. And a lot of people don't understand either that it is actually possible at a lot of firms to get in through knowing people as well. I know loads of people who have got into, for example, to Deloitte or other Big Four through talking with directors or partners, and magically sometimes when things all line up, there are opportunities there.
Yeah, I think that's very true, because I've in fact helped a friend through a referral. I've helped him, talk to a director, and she had the relevant experience, but then it was just talking to the director who got him a job opening, and even emailed the HR to get her some interview, and then it was from there that she got a job. Because sometimes people don't realize that talking to directors and different people in the organization can actually get you a job.
100%. It all comes back down to people, doesn't it? Every
Absolutely. And especially consulting is a field where everything is networking based. Even after getting a job, it's not that your progress is in their hands. It's in your hands. You have to talk to different people and get a project for yourself. It's again networking again after getting a job. So a part of my KPIs is to be on a project 80% of the time. That's just to be on track. And for that, I mean, I initially, had to talk to so many people to, just get a project, because I had a very short span in terms of my visa, and not getting on track was also a big factor, which, I was thinking that, it should be looked at, and I had to get a project as soon as I could. And again, the networking worked.
Definitely. What looking back, I know you might not have thought about this too much, but with those people who you knew, for example, the probe group CFO and the startup, that person, and the person who referred you for the accounting job, how do you think other people can go about replicating the same kind of results? Like, for example, is it about just going out of your way whenever you can at university to meet new people, to socialize? Is it to join networking clubs? Like, how did you go about that? Was it flatmates?
Yeah, I think it can be a whole lot of different approaches which you can have. I think your program gives a very great advice in terms of how to go about that. And I would say, think of any ways which you can. I think the simplest way is through LinkedIn. Just reach out to as many people as you can, and just like you taught that, have a look at different people in different organizations and see who could help you. Probably it would be, someone who's from your same college or your same uni, and someone who's done a same course or something of this sort. And then that's an easy icebreaker to get to talk to them, and then you can progress from there. And I think this approach really works. If, let's say, you might get 2 or 3 rejections, but out of, let's say, if you send 50 messages every day, I'm pretty sure at least one will be a hit.
Awesome. So we kind of built up to this point where you're getting a little bit more experience, kind of a little bit more senior, a bit more under your belt, and you're actually now a year and a half pretty much after your degree. You've got this commercial analyst job, but you still have this Deloitte Big Four job in the back of your mind. So you get the referral, and you put together your resume, cover letter, and fill in the form and all that sorts of stuff. Any tips for people on the application process?
I think obviously the first step is to get your resume and your CV right. And for me, it was only the resume which worked, because the way I had edited my resume, I think probably it got the HR's eye, and I think it was the next day I got a email from her, and she asked for a date for an interview. So it was, I think, specifically highlighting the numbers. I mean, making them bold in terms of what are the different projects that I had done at Probe, and I'd handled different clients there as well. So that actually got me, that got the attention of the HR.
So you found this junior level consultant job at Deloitte. You already had a friend who worked there. They said, hey, I'll refer you. You got the referral link. Put together the highest quality application you could, and there you go. You were a good fit.
That's right.
You already had someone who was there recommending you, so you're kind of becoming this very trustworthy candidate.
Yes. I think, I'm not sure how much that played a part, but then just some percentage which you could associate to that part.
Definitely. I've noticed it's quite effective. I think you still obviously have to be a great candidate.
Yes.
Yeah. Jerry, you go.
I mean, that could be the case. I mean, I'm not sure, because I know of a friend who got a job at EY. He didn't actually go through the actual process of getting referred to someone. But then obviously you have a bit of advantage when someone actually refers you. So there's slight advantage.
Definitely. And these companies really incentivize it, right? I'm not sure what the bonus is now, but I assume, if you refer someone and they click the link and they end up getting hired, you get decent bonus, which I think increases depending on how senior they are, right? So if they're really senior, you get quite a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right. So my friend, my flatmate who referred me, he got quite a good bonus, and it was even more like a year back. It was an insane amount. I mean, that's like 1 month of pay in just bonus. So yeah, that's a great amount.
It's a good little trick, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
people
indeed.
I mean, even if they're not your flatmate, right, and you come across exceptionally well to say a junior consultant or a senior consultant, they really like you. You know, you have a chat or a coffee, and they think, you know what, this guy could be a great fit. They're incentivized to put your name down as a referral. I mean, they could get nice chunk
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah, when I was applying for the role of probe, I actually was networking with different people. I had a chance to speak with a partner of some small firm again, and he also invited me over for a coffee on, I think it was one of the days I had to go, but then I had to cancel on that plan because then before that I got a job at probe. But then this trick also definitely works. So I would say just put on your networking hat and meet as many people as you can, because that's eventually, will get you hired in most cases.
Awesome. I think we've been pretty extensive today. We covered your whole story, you know, how you made it happen, how you got your dream job, really. And do you have any big tips or pieces of advice or learnings you wanted to share with people?
That's a great question. I mean, one piece of advice that I have for people is if they're struggling to get a job, just don't give up on it, because sometimes time might not be right for you and things might not be aligned, and you can factor that out from your chances by just not giving up and working on yourself and improving as you go. So don't get disheartened by a rejection, because that's a normal part, and just keep working for your dream.
Awesome. Any other tips? Networking tips, interview tips, resume tips, motivation tips,
Yes.
mindset tips?
A lot of tips. I think your program covers a lot of these things, and it was helpful in terms of knowing how to, edit your resume for the right company. Especially tailoring your resume for a specific company, that really helps. Interview tips, I think that also your program, I think, is it was very extensive in covering all of those things. I think when I was going through my interviews, I learned a lot of those questions. I had like a lot of reads of those questions, and those really helped me, even boost my confidence in the interviews. Just getting the right preparation and having the courage and the confidence in yourself, back yourself. That also is very crucial. And that just comes from practicing and learning. And that's the motivation tip. And what else? I think you're the master, so you can most likely help everyone who was seeking for a job.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I know it's been quite a while since you were kind of a part of the grad jobs program. It's changed quite a bit now. I don't know if you've seen, but it's pretty cool. We've kind of brought in loads of different coaches as well.
Oh, really?
It's pretty cool. You should check it out. So that it's kind of, I think it was pretty good when you did it, but now I think it's
the next level up.
Twice as good. At least twice.
Wow.
As good. It's good, but just, it's similar in that we train everyone on the whole process for job searching, every single aspect, give them all kind of the resources they need, all the support they need. We have a community of hundreds of people who they can connect with, who are already working in these organizations, coaches who are already working in these organizations. So given that they've, the new people who join grad jobs, they've got access to even more than you had access to. what tips would you give them on how to make the most out of the program? Say they've already joined.
Yeah, firstly, I think the work that you are doing is really great. And if it's gotten better, so I think that's good on the candidates and all the people looking for a job. So I think it's even more better for them. And in terms of, how to go about your program, I think it's essential to, have a look at all the videos and just, I think, focusing on what job you want in the long term, like have an end goal where you want to achieve and then work to get to that goal. So I think your program covers all of these things in detail in terms of, how to have set a goal and how to work for that goal. And obviously, since you have the mentoring sessions, that's a great plus point and will, I think, give you an environment like talking to different people and candidates I think it was twice a week when I joined. I think that kind of gives you an environment to learn from everyone's experience, and that's a great booster in getting a job.
Awesome. Yeah, now we've got even more of those. So we do sessions at least 4 times a week, and we've been as high as 6 times as well.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So almost every day.
Yeah, because I think that's really nice because it's because people are usually it's sometimes it gets monotonous, just keep on applying for jobs and get disdirectional in terms of after getting a lot of rejections. So learning from everyone's experience and getting on those sessions is, I think, really helpful, and that was a great motivator for the candidates and for me as well. And yeah, and also you make new friends.
Totally agree. I think the community element is the most underrated part, because you literally get to hang out with all these awesome people that you've never met before. It's not as lonely, gives you a bit more motivation, and it's nice to know as well, kind of these other people, you're seeing them get results. So some people in these coaching calls, they'll be fresh and they're not getting results in the program, and they're just kind of still struggling to get interviews. Then you've got these people who are saying, I just got 5 interviews and 2 offers last week. So it's quite motivating as well.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
So just to summarize, the main thing is just kind of take the time to go through basically the course, make use of the coaching sessions, and have a really clear goal that you're going to be working towards through the program.
Yeah, absolutely. That summarizes how to make the best of your program.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I think that was really valuable. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, although I could probably go a lot longer. Is there any final words or anything you'd like to say to people still watching this? Maybe they just want to follow in your footsteps.
I think, the final words would be to, just, I think, go through your program well, and definitely your tricks help, and the way you coach people also is really crucial, so pay attention to that, and just don't get disheartened by rejections. So that's a part of the process, and just learn from your mistakes and apply for jobs with a new approach, and just stay motivated.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you very much. I think this will be super valuable for aspiring consultants and generally graduates.
Thank you. Thanks, Mackenzie, for having me here, and really appreciate your session.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. I know you're pretty busy, and keep in touch as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Sehaj. See ya.
See ya.